unfortunately, you probably need to hear some of the things I'm going to share in this video. And the first one is, we're not going to live forever. How many more sunsets do you have on the beach to enjoy? None of us live forever, but yet many of us live like we're going to live forever. We put off important decisions like, when are we going to retire? When are we going to start to actually enjoy some of the money that we've worked hard to save? So that's the first one. The second one's kind of related, which is we're not going to be healthy forever. If you're 40 or 50 years old, maybe you've got another 20, 30 years of being healthy. But if you're 60 years old like I am, most 60-year-olds have less than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time remaining. So we need to cherish each and every day like this, where we can enjoy being in a location like this. And it's not just me that feels this way. The World Health Organization reports that in the United States, the average American, we lose our health at just 66.1 years old. And if you're planning to wait to do the things on your bucket list until you retire, unfortunately, a lot of us are never going to get to those bucket list items. Because 66.1 years old is just 13 months after when the average American retired at 65. That's not a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time left. Okay. The next one is your friends are likely going to change as you get older. Hopefully it's like that winter animated show that we see during the holidays, where it says, old friends are silver and new friends are gold. And hopefully it works out that way. But unfortunately, for many of us, particularly for guys, if I can be candid, a lot of our friends are through work. And we're sharing a common mission with those folks, and we're sharing a common space. We're on a common team. And once we retire, those relationships, they're still going to be, people that like you, that you like hanging out with, but we're not going to have that proximity anymore. And we're likely not going to be able to spend as much time with those folks later. So our friends are likely going to change. So it's important that, to use that analogy, old friends are silver, new friends are gold. It's important to keep looking for new gold as we go through life. Okay, the next one. It's important to stay young in whatever way you can. And, music is an important part of most of our lives. As I was walking on this beach, mea culpa, I was listening to some music from my high school days. But it's also important for me to keep up with music that young people listen to. So I was listening to some Sabrina Carpenter and some Taylor Swift, as well as the Bee Gees, as well as U2, as well as some of the bands that I remember, Bruce Springsteen from my glory days. But it's important we're constantly making new glory days, Fred, new exciting memories. And I also think it's important for us to stay around young people. And so for some of us, we have adult children. And that's one great way to stay around young people. But there's a difference between hanging around with your daughter and your son and being able to hold a conversation and showing an interest in a young person's life and finding out what's going on in their life. And right now, life is super interesting for young people. A little scary too, because the world is changing, just like our world changed when the internet we got, right? Many of us remember a time we didn't have cell phones. Many of us remember a time we couldn't afford television. Many of us remember a time you certainly couldn't hear what I'm doing, walking on the beach and recording a video on, in my case, on my smartphone. So, the world is changing, and for young people, they're feeling that pressure. What does the world look like with AI? So I think it's important that we stay kind of young by showing interest with young people and having some friends that are young people, it's going to be different. We're not going to go out drinking beers with them. Uh, but it is nice to have those young people in your life. And one way you can do that is when you're on vacation, when you're at a coffee shop, when you're at a restaurant, when you're at the beach, strike up a conversation with somebody in their 20s. One way I do that is when I travel, I like to stay at hostels. And hostels have a connotation that I don't think is accurate, right? It's kind of like gingy and grungy and budget travel. And then there's definitely those hostels out there. But there's also some super nice hostels so you can rent a private room and then be in a situation where, you're cooking your meal in the common kitchen, and there's some young people cooking your meal, and you're eating your dinner or your breakfast, and you get a chance to hang out with young people. So it's important that we stay young at heart. Okay, next one. It's important that we think about what our purpose is. For so long, we've been working so hard for so long, and our purpose is then, for many people, to be a provider, to go to work, to be as valuable a person, member of your team as you can be. And that's great for a period of time. But if you're in your late 40s, your 50s, you're starting to think about retirement, it's super important that we think about, what's my purpose outside of work? And getting comfortable with one of the most common questions Americans like to ask each other, which is, what do you do for a living? Well, in my case, I was a financial advisor. I'm now retired. How do I answer that question now? What do I do for a living? I just say, here's what I enjoy doing. I worked for 20 years as a financial advisor, and here's what I'm enjoying doing now. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy learning Spanish. I'm a lifetime learner. I love adventures. That's what I like doing. What do you like doing? But being comfortable with the answer, just I am. I have value just because I am. Not I am a financial advisor or I am a doctor or I am a lawyer, but I am. And that in itself has tremendous value, and you can enjoy life without having to have that label. I am whatever the profession is, and just really finding joy in the simple things. I love going to a beach town at least once a year because life just slows down, right? You sleep in a little bit. In my case, I work out. I like learning things. So I might jump on my computer. I'll go for a walk on the beach. I'll run at the beach. Then, at least here in Costa Rica, in the town that I'm at, it's pretty hot in the middle of the day. So you're inside, you're prepping supper, so you don't have to do that later, and you won't miss the beautiful sunset. But if you look around me here, you see there's a crowd here. This is what people do. This is what people do in a beach town is they enjoy the beach. And I want you to enjoy your journey. And so these are the things that you all need to think about. I know I touched a couple third rails here. I hope these were friendly reminders. And another friendly reminder is, when are you going to retire? What's the right age to retire? And you heard me talk about the average American loses their health a little past 65 years old. And that's why I made this video up here. Why waiting to retire until 65 might be a really big mistake. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. One last shot at the sunset there. Bye-bye.